It happens quietly. No alarms. No sirens. Just a whisper inside your body, your blood moving slower, thicker, more stubborn, just as the sun rises. That moment, right after your eyes flutter open, that's when you're most vulnerable. You think you've just woken up. But in truth, your body has been preparing for war. For those over 60, the first 30 minutes of the day are like the most dangerous stretch of a road you've driven your whole life, but only now. The pavement's cracked, the rails are loose, and the wrong turn could cost everything. And the strangest part? Most people walk straight into that danger every morning, smiling, sipping coffee, unaware that their brain is walking a tightrope. You see, your risk of stroke doesn't rise during some dramatic crisis. It rises while you're tying your robe, checking your phone, thinking about what's for breakfast. The biology is silent, but the science is screaming. During sleep, your body does what it can to restore you. But while your mind rests, your blood thickens. Your vessels tighten. Your hydration slips. And your brain, so delicate, so desperate for oxygen, starts the day already behind. It's no surprise, then, that the early morning hours account for the highest number of strokes. It's not coincidence. It's physiology. But this is not a warning. It's an invitation. Because one small act, done consistently, kindly, without rush, could slash your stroke risk in half. Not with a new drug. Not with a fad. But with something you can do tomorrow morning, before your feet even touch the floor. Let me tell you a story. Her name was Evelyn. 74 years old. A retired nurse. Sharp as a tack, always wore lavender. She'd survived breast cancer, raised 4 children, and baked the softest biscuits you've ever tasted. One morning, she called me, confused. She was having trouble writing her grocery list. Words weren't forming. Her right hand felt like it belonged to someone else. I rushed her in, ran the scans. Tiny strokes. Silent, but real. Caught early, thank God, but still, they had stolen something. And when I asked her about her mornings, she looked puzzled. Mornings? Oh, nothing special. I just get up, pour some coffee, maybe take my pills later. Why? That's when I knew. And that's when I started teaching this. It begins with water. 8 to 12 ounces of plain, room temperature water the moment you wake up. Before coffee. Before breakfast. Before scrolling the news. You see, while you sleep, you lose fluid through every breath. Every sigh. Every tiny bead of sweat. You wake up subtly dehydrated. Your blood, normally smooth and flowing, becomes more like syrup. And syrup doesn't travel easily through vessels the size of thread. But water changes that. One blast softens the blood. Loosens the vessels. Wakes up your kidneys, flushes out the toxins, and tells your entire cardiovascular system, it's time to move. Gently. Smoothly. Safely. I've had patients tell me they started this habit and no longer felt dizzy getting out of bed. Their minds felt clearer. Their morning headaches stopped. And if you're taking blood pressure medication, water is not optional, it's essential. Without it, your pills may sit like stones in your stomach, not dissolving properly, not entering your bloodstream on time. That delay can be the difference between safety and catastrophe. I often tell them, leave the water by your bed. Let it greet you like an old friend. A sentry watching over your brain. It's not a gimmick. It's chemistry. It's care. It's life. But it's not just about what you drink. It's also about how you breathe. Your thoughts don't wait for coffee. They come pouring in the moment you wake, sometimes sharp, sometimes heavy. Errands, appointments, that strange pain in your hip, the news you heard last night about someone your age having a stroke out of nowhere. Stress doesn't need a calendar. It wakes up early. And when it does, so does your cortisol, the stress hormone. It pulses through your veins, raising your blood pressure before your feet hit the floor. That spike, especially in older adults, can be the match to dry grass. But 5 minutes of deep, slow breathing can calm the fire. No fancy app. No incense. Just you. Eyes closed. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 seconds, hold, exhale through the mouth for 4, and repeat. I've watched heart monitors change in real time when patients breathe this way. I've seen blood pressure drop by 10 points in minutes. And I've heard stories of sleep improving, memory sharpening, panic fading, all from a ritual as old as life itself. Because your breath is not just air. It's the rhythm of your nervous system. It's your way of telling your body, I am safe. I am in control. So when you pair water with breath, you're not just starting your day, you're protecting your brain. But then comes the third enemy. One that hides behind flavor and comfort. Salt. Not the kind you sprinkle with care, but the kind buried in your healthy breakfast. That innocent slice of toast with cheese. The cereal that promises fiber. The pickle you add for zing. The canned soup low in fat. Salt saturates them all. And in the morning, after a night of tight vessels and light dehydration, salt is a sledgehammer to your arteries. It pulls water into the bloodstream, raises your pressure, and tightens your vessels like a noose. Hypertension isn't just a number. It's a slow strangulation of your brain's lifeline. But the antidote isn't deprivation. It's intention. Instead of toast and cheese, try a bowl of plain oatmeal with cinnamon and blueberries. Swap the processed breakfast bar for a smoothie with banana, spinach, and chia seeds. Choose a boiled egg with sliced avocado. Add turmeric or ginger instead of salt. Your taste buds will adapt. They always do. But more importantly, your vessels will thank you. They'll relax. They'll open. They'll deliver oxygen to your brain like morning sunlight through open windows. I've had patients come back months later, smiling, saying their energy is up, their pressure is down, and they feel finally awake. And you know what else helps? Movement. Gentle, steady, no rush. Because lying still all night slows your blood. And sitting right away after waking only prolongs that sluggishness. But walking, even for 10 minutes, in your hallway, on your porch, around your living room, tells your entire cardiovascular system, it's time to circulate. Time to deliver. Time to protect. It boosts oxygen to the brain. It opens arteries. It keeps your balance sharp. And it strengthens the very muscles that prevent falls and injuries, the kinds that turn a stroke from a crisis into a catastrophe. I tell my patients, you don't need sneakers. You don't need a park. You need a path in your own 2 feet. Because every step you take in those quiet early minutes is a message to your body, I am not giving up. I am not slowing down. I am still here. And yet, even with water, breath, and motion, there's one place almost every senior forgets to look, their own neck. It sounds strange, doesn't it? That this quiet bridge between your shoulders and your brain, this stretch of muscle and artery we hardly think about, could play such a dangerous role in stroke risk. But it does. When you wake, if your neck is stiff or your shoulders tight, those very muscles can compress the vertebral arteries that feed the back of your brain. And the back of the brain is no small matter, it controls balance, coordination, even consciousness itself. That stiffness can choke off blood flow without warning. It doesn't always hurt. It doesn't always announce itself. But it narrows the path to the mind, like weeds growing over a garden hose. And so many seniors chalk it up to sleeping wrong or just aging. But that kind of stiffness isn't a badge of honor, it's a warning light. That's why I teach this, a morning ritual of slow, careful neck and shoulder stretches. No jerking. No cracking. Just smooth, steady movement. Roll your head gently in a circle. Clockwise, then counterclockwise. Shrug your shoulders high, then let them fall. Circle them backward. Forward. Feel the tightness soften, the warmth return. It takes 3 minutes. That's it. But those 3 minutes can open the floodgates to the brain. They can ease the pressure from compressed arteries. They can turn fog into clarity. And they pair beautifully with breath. With stillness. With awareness. This isn't just stretching. This is tending to the roots of the tree before expecting it to bear fruit. Your brain is not separate from your body, it is fed by it. Now, I know this might all sound like a lot. But each habit takes just a few minutes. And all of them together take less time than most people spend scrolling headlines that raise their blood pressure even more. But if I could ask for just one thing, just one promise, it would be this: check your blood pressure. Every morning. Before breakfast. Before the world has a chance to stir you into stress. You see, high blood pressure is the most silent of killers. It doesn't make you feel sick. It doesn't make your hands tremble or your vision blur. It waits. And then it strikes. But checking your blood pressure is like looking into a mirror before walking out the door. You see what's happening before others do. Before it's too late. Get a cuff that wraps around the upper arm, not the wrist. Sit comfortably. Rest your arm. Take a reading. Write it down. Not just once, but daily. When you do that, you start to see patterns. You notice trends. And if something is creeping upward, you'll catch it before it turns into tragedy. I had a patient once, George. A retired school principal. He joked that the blood pressure cuff became his new morning pop quiz. And when he started seeing higher numbers 3 days in a row, he didn't wait. He called me. We adjusted his medication. A week later, he was stable again. And he never had the stroke that might have been waiting just around the corner. That 1-minute habit gave him 10 more years of clarity. But of course, numbers are only half the story. What fuels those numbers is often the fuel we put into our own bodies. And most seniors don't realize their breakfasts are starving them of the very minerals their brain and arteries desperately need. Potassium and magnesium. Two quiet heroes. Potassium works like nature's pressure valve. It gently clears sodium from your body, relaxes vessel walls, and keeps the electrical rhythm of your heart beating smoothly. Magnesium is the peacekeeper. It calms the nervous system, widens the arteries, helps blood flow without friction. And together, these minerals form a shield, one that defends your brain in those tender morning hours. But here's the problem: most breakfast foods are stripped of them. White toast, sugary cereal, frozen waffles, processed bars, they fill the stomach but leave the bloodstream lacking. So how do we restore what's been lost? With food that comes from the earth, not the factory. A banana rich in potassium, easy to digest, and portable. Spinach, soft, green, filled with magnesium. Avocado on whole grain toast, sprinkled with flaxseed or pumpkin seeds. A small handful of almonds or walnuts. A dollop of plain yogurt with berries. Even a smoothie with leafy greens, chia, and a splash of almond milk. These aren't exotic health trends. They're medicine. The kind your ancestors would recognize. The kind that speaks the body's language. And they don't just protect the brain. They nourish memory. They support muscle function. They keep the heart's rhythm smooth, the kidneys humming, the vessels supple. You can feel the difference. Not right away. But over time. Like sunlight shifting through the seasons. Your clarity returns. Your balance improves. Your anxiety softens. Your mornings stop feeling like survival and start feeling like a gift. Now, there is one more piece. One act so small it often goes forgotten. Yet skipping it even once can leave the brain exposed. Taking your blood pressure medication. On time. Without delay. With intention. Many seniors miss it because they feel fine. Or they forget. Or they tell themselves they'll take it later, after breakfast, after coffee, after the phone call. But that gap, the one between waking and medicating, is the most dangerous window of all. Because your pressure is rising while you wait. And the medication, when finally swallowed, needs time to work. And during that time, your brain is left unprotected. So make it your ritual. Keep the bottle next to your bed. Set a reminder. Use a pill organizer. Have your spouse or partner check in. Use a simple app if you like. Whatever works. But take it early. Consistently. With water. Before the demands of the day distract you from the one thing your brain needs most, stability. I've seen patients avoid entire hospital stays simply because they became consistent. Their pressure flattened. Their symptoms eased. Their risk fell like a stone. They didn't change their genes. They changed their routine. And the beauty of it is, so can you. Because aging is not weakness. It is wisdom wrapped in vulnerability. And that wisdom says, if I want to keep my independence, my clarity, my story, I must protect my brain with the quiet strength of daily care. Every morning becomes a chance. A decision. A small sacred promise to treat your body not like a machine, but like a cathedral. The water. The breath. The walk. The meal. The pill. The pause. Each one a candle lit in honor of the years you still have left. And the question isn't, will you have a stroke? The question is, will you rise each morning ready to fight for your brain? Because if you do, you just might win. I wish you could sit beside me in the exam room on a quiet Thursday morning. I wish you could see what I see, the look in a patient's eyes when they realize their stroke didn't come out of nowhere. That it crept in slowly, through forgotten sips of water, missed medications, skipped breakfasts, silent numbers on a blood pressure monitor no one checked. And I wish you could hear their voice trembling not from fear, but from grief. Grief not for the life they had, but for the time they didn't know they were playing with fire. That's why I speak to you like this, not as a doctor with a chart, but as someone who's held hands in ICUs, written condolence letters, helped families relearn speech and walking in hope. Because a stroke doesn't just take your memory. It takes your laughter. It takes the sound of your voice as your granddaughter says happy birthday. It takes the moment you wanted to stand up at your daughter's wedding, but your legs wouldn't listen. And yet, this is what haunts me most, it is preventable. Up to 80% of strokes can be prevented. That's not a guess. That's research. That's decades of data. And yet we continue to lose minds, mobility, marriages, and meaning to something that starts with something so simple. A glass of water. A breath. A check of a cuff. A refusal to eat what tightens the arteries. A choice to move when it would be easier to sit. A swallow of a pill that keeps the pressure from rising like a silent tide. You don't need to change your life. You need to honor it. One step, one habit, one morning at a time. I've had patients who never exercised start walking 5 minutes a day, and a year later, they're walking 5 miles with their neighbors. I've seen people on 5 blood pressure medications go down to 2, just by removing morning salt and adding a banana. I've watched widowers smile again, regain their independence, cook their own meals, stretch their shoulders with dignity and purpose, because they chose not to surrender to fate, but to rise with intention. And I know this might be hard. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you've tried before and it didn't stick. Maybe you're scared of what you'll find if you start checking your numbers each day. But here's what I'll say, your body is not your enemy. It's your home. It's carried you through wars, births, heartbreaks, reunions. It has healed broken bones, grieved losses, laughed until it cried. And now, it is asking for a little help. Not perfection. Just presence. It's asking you not to sleepwalk through the most important hour of your day. Because your brain isn't just a mass of tissue. It's your memories. Your wisdom. Your faith. The way you hum your favorite tune when no one's around. The way you remember the smell of your mother's kitchen or the sound of your father's laugh. It's sacred. It's irreplaceable. And it's worth protecting with everything you've got. So if you remember nothing else from this conversation, remember this: stroke prevention doesn't begin with machines or hospitals. It begins at your bedside, in the stillness of dawn. It begins with honoring your morning not as routine, but as ritual. You get one brain. One heart. One beautiful life. And while aging may change your pace, it should never steal your power. So here's what I hope you'll do. Tonight, before bed, place a glass of water on your nightstand. Lay out your morning medications. Set your blood pressure monitor within reach. Write a gentle note to yourself, breathe. Stretch. Nourish. Protect. You're not just managing your health. You're safeguarding your future. And tomorrow morning, when the light filters through your window and the birdsong stirs the silence, I hope you sit up slowly. I hope you take that sip of water, stretch your neck, and let the breath enter you like hope. I hope you walk your hallway with quiet pride, measure your pressure with calm, and eat something that feeds your soul, not just your stomach. Because you are not done. You are not fading. You are in the chapter where every page matters. And if that one morning habit, taken seriously, practiced with love, can cut your stroke risk in half, then what else could be possible when you stop surviving and start caring again? Aging is not the end of health. It's the beginning of wisdom applied. It's your time to rise, not just from sleep, but into strength, clarity, and control. This is your morning. This is your chance. So drink the water. Take the breath. Walk the path. And protect your beautiful, irreplaceable mind. Because the world still needs you. And more importantly, so do you. Before you go, pause for just one moment. If something stirred in you today, if a habit clicked, a truth landed, or you simply felt seen, don't let that fade. Tap subscribe so you never miss the quiet changes that could save your life. Click like if you're choosing to honor your health, not out of fear, but out of love. And if you know someone who needs this, someone you couldn't bear to lose, share this with them. Because when we protect our mornings, we protect our minds. And when we rise together, we rise stronger. You're not alone on this journey. Not now. Not ever. Take care. I'll see you next time.